Some of you I've just met today. I'm very appreciative of your kindnesses and thoughtfulness. And some of you have played a major role in my work and probably deserve a good part of the credit. And I also want to give congratulations to the Hibri Foundation for choosing to focus on peace studies. The problem of peace studies is related to the problem of how you get peace. That determines what you need to study, or what you need to study determines how you get peace, perhaps. And I think that problem is one that I focused on quite a number of years ago. And my conclusion was that war is not just a sporadic expression of anger or frustration. War is a means of conducting a conflict. And that people will not give up the means of conducting a conflict if they think it's the most powerful means available. And therefore, if you really want to get rid of that, you have to have a substitute. A substitute not just in name, but another means of conflict which is powerful and can be more effective and more successful than violence and other military means can be. Some of the chapters in which I developed that analysis using more fancy terms and more sociological terms in reference to sociological analysts is in my it's an old book now, Social Power and Political Freedom. There are 3 different chapters there. And particularly one chapter which was originally published by the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace in our journal, International Conciliation. There's a section in there which most peace people should look at, and almost nobody does apparently anymore. It's distasteful givens. People, parts of our reality which we really wish weren't there, that we have to take into consideration if we determine we want to get peace. That substitute for war and other violence has to be a means that are effective, that really will work, that people can choose to use because they are superior, not because they're weak and nice, and because you can polish your halo that way or feel good about yourselves. Means which will actually have a chance of achieving your goals. Because if you people, as pastors usually urge people to renounce war, the Peacemaker in England was, we renounced war back in the 1930s. But if they are offered a chance of renouncing war and being ineffective, or being responsible but immoral, they'll choose to be immoral every time, with a few exceptions. So you have to focus on the question of realism. The new paper I wrote the other day, I'm calling it the new political realism. Because the old realist analysis was that violence and military means are the real ultimate sources of power. And my analysis back in the Politics of Nonviolent Action in 1973, it's not true. There are other sources of power, and those are the sources of power on which nonviolent struggle is based, that you can take those away from an oppressive ruler, and you can use them to mobilize the power of the nonviolent struggle, people who want their freedom and greater justice. This means we must learn to understand this other technique of nonviolent struggle. How does it operate? What makes it succeed? What makes it fail? In the end of that 1973 book, it's an appendix. I think people didn't get that far, maybe. I think there's a list of about 30 factors which determine whether your show is going to be successful or whether it's going to fail. And those are extremely important.